Have you ever felt like you're stuck? Like no matter how hard you work, you just can't seem to get ahead? I want to tell you a story that might just change your perspective. It's the story of a man named Leo, who went from having almost nothing to building a life he once only dreamed of. Leo grew up in a small, run-down apartment with his parents and two younger siblings. Money was always tight. His dad worked long hours at a factory, and his mom cleaned houses. Leo saw their exhaustion every single day. He wore hand-me-down clothes that were always a little too big or a little too small, and his meals were often simple, but made with love. Despite the hardships, his parents taught him the value of hard work and, more importantly, the power of kindness. From a young age, Leo was a dreamer. While other kids were playing with toys, he was reading. He'd spend hours at the local library, devouring books on business, science, and history. The library was his escape, his university. It was where he learned that the world was so much bigger than his small neighborhood. He started to believe that his circumstances didn't have to define his future. As a teenager, Leo took on any job he could find. He delivered newspapers in the pouring rain, washed dishes in a greasy diner, and stocked shelves at the local grocery store. Every dollar he earned was precious. He gave most of it to his mom to help with the bills, but he always saved a tiny portion. He wasn't saving for a new bike or a video game. He was saving for an opportunity, though he wasn't sure what that opportunity would be just yet. This period was tough. He often felt invisible, just another face in the crowd struggling to make ends meet. Friends would go out, and he'd have to say no because he was either working or had no money to spare. There were moments of deep doubt, moments when he wondered if this was all his life would ever be. But then he remembered the stories he read in those library book stories of people who started with nothing and built empires. That glimmer of hope kept him going. The turning point came not with a lottery win or a lucky break, but with a simple observation. While working at the grocery store, Leo noticed how much produce was thrown away every single day simply because it looked a little bruised or misshapen. It was perfectly good food, yet it was destined for the landfill. At the same time, he knew many families in his community like his own who struggled to afford fresh fruits and vegetables. An idea sparked in his mind. What if he could bridge this gap? What if he could rescue that imperfect produce and sell it at a deeply discounted price to people who needed it? He used his small savings, the money he'd been carefully stashing away for years, to buy his first batch of ugly produce from a local farmer who was happy to sell it for a low price. He set up a small stall at a weekend market. His sign was hand-painted. Perfectly good, perfectly affordable. The first few weeks were slow. People were skeptical. They were used to seeing perfectly polished apples and uniformly shaped carrots. But Leo was persistent. He didn't just sell produce. He talked to people. He shared his story, his mission. He explained that a crooked carrot tastes just as sweet as a straight one. He'd cut up samples for people to try. His passion and sincerity started to win people over. Slowly, his customer base grew. Families started relying on his stall for their weekly groceries. They were getting healthy food at a price they could afford, and Leo was building a business. He wasn't just making money, he was making a difference. He reinvested every penny he made back into the business, buying more produce from more farms, and even renting a small truck to expand his reach. The business, which he named Fresh Start, began to flourish. He eventually opened a small storefront, and then another. He hired people from his community, offering them fair wages and a supportive work environment. He remembered his father's tired face and vowed to create a workplace where people felt valued and respected. Of course, the journey wasn't without its challenges. There were logistical nightmares, competitors who tried to undercut him. In moments when a bad batch of produce meant a significant financial loss, there were sleepless nights spent worrying about payroll and rent. But every time he felt like giving up, he'd visit one of his stores and see the relief on a mother's face as she filled her basket with healthy food for her children. That was his fuel. Years passed. Leo was no longer the boy in hand-me-down clothes. He had built a successful multi-million-dollar company from a simple, compassionate idea. Bought his parents a beautiful house with a big garden, finally giving them the rest and security they deserved. But he never forgot where he came from. He established a foundation that provided educational scholarships for underprivileged youth, giving them the same escape and opportunity the library once gave him. He also started programs to teach financial literacy in low-income communities, empowering others to take control of their futures. So, what's the secret? How did Leo do it? It wasn't magic. It was a combination of things. It was the resilience he learned from his parents. It was the curiosity and knowledge he gained from those library books. It was the discipline he developed working all those odd jobs. But most of all, it was his ability to see a problem not as an obstacle, but as an opportunity to serve others. His wealth didn't come from chasing money. It came from creating value. He solved a real problem for real people. He saw waste and turned it into sustenance. He saw need and turned it into a business. Leo's story is a powerful reminder that your starting point doesn't determine your destination. It's about your mindset, your work ethic, and your willingness to see opportunities where others see none. It's about finding a purpose that is bigger than yourself. So, if you're feeling stuck right now, look around you. What problems do you see? What needs are not being met? Maybe your fresh start idea is right there, waiting for you to notice it. It might not be easy, and it definitely won't happen overnight. But as Leo's life shows, with persistence, passion, and a genuine desire to help others, anything is possible. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this story inspired you today. If it did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Let me know in the comments what problem you'd love to solve in the world. I'd see you in the next video.